Okay, yeah, we're getting all set here, folks. Thanks for coming and joining us, and give us a second to set up. Hi, everybody that's already here, and I hope you're having a good day. I've got Mariah here. Hey, hiya.
Hi.
How are you today?
I am good. Do you hear us okay? You can't hear anything over there.
Hello.
Can you hear her okay? And is there a weird echo?
I can hear both of yous.
Okay.
No weird echo at all.
I hear us angry today.
Hold on, let me check mine.
Because I couldn't get the ear thingies to connect. They don't want to talk to the other thing.
Oh, okay. I know that generally I have regular bad hair day.
Well, I'm just angry at it because I got it cut and it's just
Well, it looks very nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Being very kind.
You reminded me. You sent me a message like a couple. I'm trying to get my headphones working. I'm like, headphones. I panicked and threw mine on.
Well, good. We're all just having this headphone issue.
And I literally had no idea they were working until you said, hiya.
Scared the crap out of you.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, hi everybody who's joining us. Welcome to Mariah and Patricia from P&M Artist Studios.
Patricia's over there.
Yeah, I'm not on camera because I'm not gussied up.
And I'm used to seeing myself flipped, so it's very weird looking at myself like. That's why I was messing with one side of my hair, and I'm like, nope, that's the wrong side.
That's the wrong side. Oh, that's fantastic. It's really exciting to have you guys here. I really appreciate you coming and joining in.
And I know that you thought you were being kind of smart and coy about the whole art history thing. And yes, I did see that comment. So we have got you an artist trivia. We have a little trivia game.
Oh, my goodness.
So.
I'm down.
Okay.
I'm always down for stuff. So for those that don't know, which is probably a very, very minute and possibly remote number, Mariah and Patricia have a fantastic channel that, how long have you been going for?
Okay, so we started, our very first video that we did was in November of 2019.
Okay.
And then I think it took us about a year or so. I can't remember when our first live stream. Hey, Mo's here in the chat. She's good. She'll be able to tell us. She'll be able to look back.
She has all those numbers for you.
Well, she's really good at finding things very quickly.
That's good.
It's a skill.
It is. It's something that it's a skill that I don't have. And
it's one I have most of the time, unless it's something my husband wants me to find, and then I never find it quick enough, or it's just I don't know. The pressure of it just really throws me off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have that. I have that facility for asking my wife, Lori. You know that. And she goes, okay, is it? Can I have a? And I'm like, blue. She's just at a loss at all times because this is how I try to describe things for her to help me figure out. And then I'll go, just look there, and I'll point it, I'll pull it up, and why didn't you just say that? I'm like, there's no hope in my being able to draw on any specific terms or any specific examples of anything when needed. But when it comes to random blabbing and thought and spilling ideas out on paper, aces. Yeah. But that's because for me it's an easier form of communication. But
yeah, all right. See, look, Mo delivers 4 years ago. It was about 2020. Yeah,
so
wow. It was about a year-ish later that we were like, okay. Well, what had happened is that my husband, who games a lot, and he actually had a little. He tried to do a little bit of a gamer streamer thing, but he's like, man, this is hard and you need some serious equipment that he just doesn't want to throw down the money for. And I'm like, I agree. And that is a very adult decision of yours.
Very good. Very good, husband. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was like, but you and P should do that. That way you don't have to edit all those videos and deal with all that. And I was like, we were both like, I don't know if that's good. And then we were a little worried, of course, with having P without, like, I mean, she's live. And I don't really have, like, I don't have a buzzer button or a
Is the concern the word unfiltered?
unfiltered. Yes. Because sometimes she says something. But
She was saying all kinds of fun things yesterday during your stream. And for those that haven't had a chance to see that, please go back and watch yesterday's stream because it was really informative.
Watch it. I don't remember.
She says that she's going to have to watch it. She doesn't remember. And the funny thing is like, she doesn't even really see, this is just the funny thing. Like, that's just how she talks. That's just who she is. And so it can be quite hilarious. And the fact that she was very worried, she was like on the art business. And so all of us kind of got to enjoy the, fun shenanigans on the side in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And there's, it's what's fantastic is with your guys, with you two ladies and how you do your stream is it's not just engagement. I love the engagement and I love the interaction with people that are participating in this old hunk of coal just drawing pictures. And to me, that's a blessing. But the way that the involvement and the engagement happens on your stream is on a whole different level.
And that is somewhat by design. Like, we knew when we first started, because I had watched a couple of kind of streamer things, but if you go to a lot of like other niches or genre of streamers, especially like gamers, man, that's like going to a concert. And I find that extremely overwhelming.
It's definitely beyond my ken. I don't quite get it. I like the idea of the videos where people will talk about the idea generation behind making some of these games and the creative processes of them, and then the development of story and the deconstructing the story and trying to figure out all the little nuances that are implemented in the game. Love that stuff.
Yeah.
Watching somebody play, don't get it. But
it
maybe
blows
it's
my
an
mind.
age thing.
Yeah. But my husband is of our age and he's into it. And I don't always get it because I'm just like, man, that is a lot going on.
Well, he plays. Do you play games, the
No.
video games?
No.
See, I don't either.
But I always dated boys that did.
Oh, well, there
Remember that?
Yeah.
No,
personally, I don't. But but P does. Is she nodding?
She did and rolled her eyes at the same time.
a double hit.
Uh-huh.
So okay, we're just sort of this is typical with how I do things. We're just sort of immediately into conversing or into the flow of things. But what I wanted to do was to offer the opportunity for people to become familiar with the journey, the sort of the how did all this come about? Not just the coming on in 2019 and creating videos and then going live in 2020, but before that, what?
I had a baby.
You had a baby, instigated a change in life, but before you had a baby.
Oh yeah. The baby was a very huge changing point, not only for me, but for my mom, for P. Because the whole deal was she had moved off to Alaska.
Oh my.
And I said, hey, I don't plan on having kids, but I still want you to know that our agreement that if I do happen to, you will still be moving back here to help take care of said child. She was like, okay, sure, Mariah, whatever. Because she knew, like, both Brad and I were like, not really, into this kind of thing. And we were getting up in age. And so it seemed that it was more highly unlikely than likely. But then it became so. And I said, you need to make some plans and change some things. And it took her about a year. I mean, Izzy was one-ish.
Yeah.
When they finally made the big move. But it was a big move. I mean, that was packing up everything that they had and
drove across the majority of the United States and Canada.
And so moved in here. Well, then we're kind of at home with this baby and hanging out in the evenings. And, all she'd want to do is just kind of watch her shows and do whatever. And I'm like, I'm just here with this baby. Like, I need something, more than like television or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she was kind of sad too, because she's like, I have all my art stuff around me, but not really feeling. And we did have to make some kind of adjustments to the studio, because it was like I had it all pretty, had it all like away, put up and set up.
Yeah.
And she's like, this really isn't conducive to like how I want to like make things. And then she ordered. Well, no, my friend Shelly, she came over once with some alcoholics, and we're like, ooh, these are kind of fun. So then Pete ordered some, and this was when the studio was still like you could have access to the 2 windows. Like, see, this is my window. Her window is shelving now.
Yeah, I didn't know she had a window.
Yeah, it's in front of the window. Yeah, so that's the setup over there. But we would be able to open the windows and vent and do all that, stuff that you need to do with alcohol. And so we really got into it. And so I was like, all right, well, if we're doing this arty fun stuff in the evening, and I kind of had some things going on with, so Brad was still working like for a company, like outside the house. And I was still sort of, doing as much as I possibly could, along with having the baby at home. My Liquid Fly designs, graphic design, web stuff. And I had some pretty good, regular clients, and they were pretty chill about like, the life of having a baby.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just your schedule changes and your availability.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of knew, and my husband always said, he's like, Mariah, this can't always just be, you can't, just know that or feel like, these clients are always going to be there. And, at the time I was like, oh God, it's just, that seems like something not worth worrying about. But then again, you have kids and you're like, just the possibility of that having, so I knew that whatever my mom and I were going to be doing, that it had to transition into something else that could be money producing.
Sure. Oh no, that's incredibly. I think it's the right direction that many creative people don't consider.
Yeah, and that was always my mom. Like, my father used to give her a hard time about, what, Patricia, you need to sell these paintings. You're so good. Why aren't you in a gallery? Why aren't you doing that? She does not have that mindset, nor does she care, nor does she want to. She just wants to produce it, stick it in a box, and bring it out 20 years later and mess around with it again.
I framed some of my stuff.
That's true.
I've sold a couple of paintings.
Or given them away to
I
people.
regretted it immediately.
I know.
It's a challenge, that, because when you're producing the work, it really does. There's that sort of personal. These are like it's similar to making babies, but at the same time, not for those that might.
Sometimes you want to give them away, but then people judge you for that.
Or you have that contrived thing of when you present a piece to a commission or a person's picking up a piece, and there's that weird. I always found it really weird, that dialogue about
the transaction.
Why do you want this? Or when you hand it over because it's a commission, and there's this part of you that's just waiting for somebody to go, it's a lot of blue, or something that makes you go.
I can remember the one time, I think you've only done one like commissioned thing, and that was that train for.
Oh, I also did an owl once.
That was before my memory.
No, yeah, it was. You were a baby.
She did this train thing, and I swear she worked on that thing for. You were very grumpy during the time.
Yes, I was.
It was absolutely beautiful. I wish we could have that back.
I know, and Rita's probably gone.
And her stupid kids probably did something terrible with it, and it's probably some garage sale or something.
That's the fear of when your work goes out of the house.
It was a mixed media painting, also.
It was. I could just remember that. I remember the smoke,
and it was huge
because it was this, like, train that was. It was weird. Number one, that she took on this commission, but Rita Stevens, she was such a sweet lady. She was one of those old ladies, like so Texan. I mean, would just get dressed up
and
just
she would
to go to the grocery store.
Boots and jewels.
And she
full makeup,
dyed her hair. I mean,
smoked
like a train. Because I remember always smelling like smoke.
So are you from Texas originally then?
No, we just assimilated very nicely.
So were you sort of hither and yon about the country, or is it where do you guys originate from? Because Alaska to Texas is a bit of a move.
Well, so we both. I was born in Colorado, and my mom was pretty much like born, raised, spent most of your life there up until 30s. No, 20-ish.
Well, we moved to Nebraska. That's where I.
Well, that was before me.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Oh. Well, we came
But
back.
that is to your mom.
Nebraska was horrible. No one should live there. They should just throw it.
I'm gonna write a note about that. Notes, move to Nebraska.
It was pretty harsh.
I was just horrified the whole time I was there. It wasn't long.
My dad was doing like sales and
Yeah.
grocery store stuff.
Yeah.
Before becoming a mathematician.
Oh well, you do a lot of math
We
and
came
grocery
back.
sales.
Run the greenhouse.
Yes. But yeah, Texas, Colorado, and then Texas. And then the reason P moved to Alaska is after her second husband passed away, she found her 4th grade boyfriend, who's Van, online, and he was living in Alaska.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, the internet.
So had you seen each other at all between 4th grade and you moving to Alaska?
Nope.
Oh my.
Nope.
You probably looked a little different.
He didn't seem to care.
There
What?
you go.
Van didn't care that you were different from, seeing you since 4th grade. Well, I guess he left in junior high it was.
Yeah.
So.
He went to military school.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
He's a Marine.
So, Pete, were you still teaching? Because he used to teach in middle school. Am I mistaken?
No, she started
I
out
did
in
it all.
elementary because that
Okay.
was okay. So in the state of Texas, whenever she finally graduated because my dad was like, "Can you please just get a job?" So finalize your what you want your career path to be, right? Wasn't that kind of it? Because you were enjoying going to school, but it was like, hey,
Yeah. He said, you got to make a decision.
Yeah.
Here. What do you want to do?
what do you want to do? And so she kind of wrapped it up, and then by the time they both graduated and all of that with their teacher's certificates, the only place in the state of Texas that was an art job and a math job was a little place called Freona, Texas.
Okay.
And a little culture shock to all of us because it was a town of 4,000, I think, when we lived there.
Oh my.
It's gotten smaller.
That's actually pretty common at this point.
Can I look and see what's happening now?
Yeah, you can. Just
Is
don't
it
have
there?
the sound on.
Well, I think I already turned it off, right?
Okay, well, that's good. Yeah.
As I'm looking through these cards to see which one I really.
Oh, she's looking through the art history things for you.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna play a little bit of that, and then we can be more
Are-
interactive with
are-
our chat, I guess.
Are we on now?
Uh-huh.
What, people are actually listening to us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Eddie's
holy
here.
cow! I did not know that. I'm glad
Sorry, P.
because I was ready.
She was
bust
about to
out.
be,
She
Inappropriate.
said so many fantastically inappropriate things so far. It's great.
yeah.
Some of these art history cards are slightly inappropriate.
Oh, fantastic. Chris is okay with that, right? Is it Christopher, or is it okay to call you Chris?
So Lori and I have 5 kids, and our youngest is a Chris.
Oh.
And I'm a Christopher.
Okay.
People call me Chris all the time. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You asked me how I pronounced my name the other day, and you got it right. It's Runciman. The reason I sign things Run-C-Man is it's the easiest way I came up with to describe how to say my name.
That's
right. And because there's a CIMAN, and that apparently is the most confusing letter to introduce to my name. Because the variations I have got on the pronunciation of my name.
Well, because you could go Runkman.
Oh yeah. I got Raunchy Man before. I don't know where
right.
that came from.
Yeah,
Maybe it was just a suggestion or an association. But there's just so many different versions that we've got. And poor Lori, people are always asking her, what ethnicity is that?
Mo would like to see you in your PJs.
Oh, is that right? Who's that?
That's what she wants. P, can we see your PJs?
No.
No, she's wearing a shirt that basically looks like the same color as her skin, so it might be confusing to people.
Well, I'm getting down to the point that I'm going to have to do some laundry.
She's threatening to do laundry.
Jim
I'll
says,
wait until the very
Chris,
last
is it
minute.
okay if I call you Fabricio? Yes, it is.
Mhm.
Okay,
Fabricio is one of my many middle names.
Not
Okay.
hooking up here.
I gave you a link inside of
I-
Facebook.
You did?
Yolanda says that she likes my toque. It's very fancy.
Oh, that your beanie.
And Cookie has just said that Raunchy Man, I believe, is a new nickname over on Makers for me.
See, you gotta watch out how these things happen.
I did that
You'll
to
end up on
myself.
the
didn't I?
PMisms.
I did that to myself. I got to be more strategic in the
Yeah, you
things
do.
I say or any euphemisms that might leak out.
Oh yeah,
But
we got a few people listening, and then some of them even document these things.
oh my goodness! See,
Mhm.
my thing was, I've always done art, and so
Oh, no,
raising
Oh,
for
sorry.
me, the raising the kids thing was, I always did stuff at night. I don't sleep a lot, and so when everybody would retire to bed, I would be in the studio working on things. And once I eventually had a studio, but for the longest time I'd be setting whatever up, working on something, and setting it away. And but now, kids are all grown up. This year we became empty nesters, and I could, this is the most space I've ever had to work in my entire life, and
It's
so
toque,
often
isn't it? A toque. That's
It's
how
a
they
toque.
say it. Yeah.
they pronounce it a toque. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know what the toque is that has the hole in it for the eyes? Do you know what that's called? It's a balaclava.
Oh.
And now you know.
I knew
It was. You knew that.
Mhm.
Of course you did.
You know what mucklucks are?
Yeah. Are those
So-
boots?
Yeah.
Mucklucks?
Yeah.
Boots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fluffy ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Kind
gonna
of
put on my toque and my mucklucks and head down to Shakutami. That's a real.
Hey.
That's a real sentence in this country.
I worked for a Canadian.
Did you?
I did.
And so there's really, I don't find any recognizable difference in Canadian English and American English other than our spelling. And, because the real accented parts of your country are sort of on the periphery of America. And then the majority of people in the centrality of the United States all tend to sound like the same as we do. There's no difference. It's only when you go to New York, go down to California, like it's just.
Inside of Texas, you can tell the difference. Like you go.
Well, that's a periphery again, though.
Yeah.
Right.
You go up to Tyler, and it gets a lot deeper and twangier.
Oh yeah, I could just imagine. I know somebody who's down in the bayou.
Oh yeah,
Louisiana.
the Louisiana thing. That one is
Yeah.
That's a whole other realm of stuff that gets very difficult to hear.
Well, people in Louisiana and the bayou regions of in the different states that cross over those are Canadians, right? Like those that's the Acadian French that
I think
came
that's
down
where
out of
Devin is.
Canada and went to.
She's in that fancy part.
Oh, is she?
I think so. I always
Nice.
think of the where the Frenchy ones are. That's the more fancy part.
Is it? I don't know.
And then there's kind of probably a little sort of rednecky-ish part of Canada where it's like Texas. No.
I've got three of our kids have partners, and I always describe one of them, because two are from different parts of the world, and the third one's a hillbilly, like it's his own ethnicity.
It's true.
Because it is.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So for me, I started in. I did the occasional thing as of 21, like 2021, because I came home for parts of COVID, and I was a manager of a bookstore for a long time. And so a lot of when we hit in Canada, we did complete lockdowns here for months and months and months of, isolation.
We were like that.
And yeah, it was ridiculous. And so a lot of the people that we had that were consistent regular members of the bookstore that would come in each week for their materials, they're on their own. Like, this might be their only social outlet, was coming into that store. And so I started leaving notes for them saying that, look, if you need someone to talk to, I'm here.
Aw.
And if hey, you want to chat or anything like that, or you want to do some stuff, and then it turned into, I got an idea. If you suggest me a 1-page story idea, I'll write and illustrate it for you.
That's awesome.
And so a lot of people, started engaging, and it was just sort of a way and a means for those people to lose
Taking how you read the world
isolation.
and putting it into a digital.
Yeah, well, the interaction part of it, and although it's still this sort of artificial thing where we're talking, like, it's nice to be able to talk to a person,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to trying to figure out how to dialogue with text. And it was just a way and a means to reach out to people and to sort of say, hey, the world still sees you, and here we all are together. And then in 21, I became a type 1 brittle diabetic, and so my pancreas just shut off, and so that's it. And so I retired from the bookstore. The kids are grown up, and we got our house, and so so I'm doing X amount of commissions and X amount of work with people on other projects for them, and in the mornings and in the afternoons, I do the 1-page stories, because it's a way for me to be able to manage that diabetes.
Yeah.
So I've switched now from working only after everybody's in bed to working pretty much most of the time. And
That's well, and so our transition was kind of fairly similar, where although like the whole nighttime thing, that I just was mommy at night, and then Brad would kind of handle certain things or whatever. And then whenever because he was kind of in a startup tech company type thing or whatever, so it finally like went away. But the nice thing was that he actually acquired a couple of clients, and then we're able to like bring them into our Liquid Fly Designs company. And then some of that we knew was just going to be sort of like a transition time. So it was really great because it allowed him to transition to working from home and really like starting to take over more of like what Liquid Fly Designs does and handles, and looking for a couple of new clients or whatever with all that. And then the pandemic turned out to be it was a very weird luxury to us, because it allowed us to have this time at home. Nobody ever really expected you to go anywhere or see anybody, which, there's just this whole, like, that takes up a lot of time. And then this whole, trying to find a new job, or if that's really what you wanted to do. But it allowed us this time to then really focus in on building PM Artist Studio. And we started out just kind of thinking Brad was like, oh, it's kind of cute with the cards and this and that. But then once the pandemic did hit, it was like, all right, well, maybe we could turn this into something, because we at that point then had seen other people doing things, and we were really trying to then thinking about like, the whole printable thing. And that was like blowing our minds that, people were into like printing their own papers. They'd buy this thing online and print it themselves. Like, it just was like, oh, okay, that's cool. We could do that. And then my mom and I were on a couple of different design teams, and that was like, okay, we learned some things, which was great. Always love.
It was very hard on me.
It was very hard on her. I handled most of the stuff because, as you've noticed, she's not like, anything on a time frame is not
And I'm also not always very nice about my
Well, and that, you
opinion.
messing with other people's stuff and,
Is it the difference of, because I and bear with me, forgive me on this, but is it that Patricia, are you like a pure creative and Mariah is more of an organized? It's like the difference of just the making, just the raw intuitive making of art, and then there's the ability to apply that out into the world. Is that the difference
100%.
between the two of you? Because it really,
I would disagree with that somewhat, because I think Mariah has her own little niche of creativity that she does that I think is unique, and I think she undersells her ability to do that because of her other qualifications, which you don't find all of these things in the same package usually.
not often, no.
And
there's no doubt whatsoever Mariah's incredibly talented. I just mean that it seems
I have no organizational.
She has no organizational skills. She has no.
Nor do I see a reason to.
She doesn't want to go out.
I was going to say facilitation.
I don't even like most people.
That's true.
I like dogs and children.
There you go.
But what is amazing, and I think was eye-opening to her, because she always felt like there aren't other people out there like her.
Yeah.
She has found a whole, arty friend community of like-minded folks that, save the same things that she does. Love on her when I give her a hard time about saving said items and all the things that
you might need them. Mariah. You might need those.
Yeah. I just don't know how many sometimes that one needs. It's usually my main concern. And then I get, usually there's a point in time when I figure out, oh, shoot, we really did need those extra toilet paper rolls because we're making this thing. Okay. And then she's like, don't you feel real bad that you threw those away? And I'm like, yes, I do. She's very happy I just said that.
I am. I feel validated.
There you go. If we've accomplished anything today, we've got Mariah to admit to that. That's good. I think that because you're both so very talented, and you really are, but there is that sort of difference of because Mariah, you have this fantastic ability for the facilitation part. Because I feel like I'm more like Patricia in the sense that it's just that raw making, and you look for organization in us, and we are organized in our own ways, right? But other people look at it from the outside in and go, there's absolutely none here at all.
Well,
and why are you putting that with that? I don't get that at all.
So if you talk to Brad, if he was brought in here to this conversation, he would then probably describe me a lot more like how P is, because he is way more like he is very, except for his desktop. Like he's one of those ones that everything gets saved out on the desktop, which I don't understand. I'm a folder person, but he doesn't always understand my folders.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, there's, and then when we moved on into like so to kind of bring it back around into, okay, then we transitioned, we started, streaming, doing the gel plate. P was really, excelling at this thing. And I'm like, it seems that, and a lot of people like this whole thing. So like, if this seems like something you can do like on a regular basis, let's continue on with this. And then, we kind of noticed people would utilize stencils. And so I think P didn't you have some kind of janky ones, some like just weird stuff and the things that she had made, but most of the stencils and things that she had made were just from like manila folders.
Yeah.
And maybe they were spray painted, so they were sort of sealed.
They've been
spray
sealed
paint things.
Because that was basically what I used them for, was spray painting.
We have spray painted furniture, and I tell you, she's quite good at it too.
Nice.
But then it was like, okay, well, these stencils are just not like of a material that we liked. And then most of them were just kind of like, okay, nothing that was ours, like that we could say, hey, this is a tool and we want to utilize it in this way. One of the things that we then really kind of figured out very quickly, now I was kind of the mind like, all right, if we're going to build this, we got to do it a little bit slowly. So I started out just with 5x7 stencils. And then people are like, these are really great, but I want a bigger one. I got a bigger plate. I'm like, well, I don't know if I can ship those. And then we worked that out, so it was like, one little problem solving thing. And, it was the Yupo. The Yupo was a huge game changer for us because we had tried with the acetate stuff and I couldn't get it to cut consistently and we didn't like it. It wasn't a material that we liked using. And it just so happened we had some Yupo from doing the alcohol ink stuff. We're like, well, let's see if this stuff cuts. I mean, it takes ink, so why not? And it cut beautifully.
Oh, perfect.
Like, okay, this is the stuff. Now, can we get this? And then, it was like sourcing it and being able to like get it at a price that it sort of made sense. Yeah. And then, once Brad started coming into the company, he was like, oh my God, how did you even figure out your pricing? I'm like, I don't know. It just like felt right. He's like, that is
five-ish.
He's like, that's ridiculous. Please tell me that you did some research. I was like, well, I did. I mean, I felt like I did some numbers. But what was so funny about that is like, well, actually, he's like, pretty good. This is good. I'm like, well, I did some, creative, like Mariah-ish numbers. I'm like, this is how much somebody sells their thing for. This would kind of make sense. This is what we pay for the Yupo. This is,
Yeah.
It just so happened that it did make sense pricing wise.
Oh, well, that's excellent. But I don't think that you're so far off on that. I've done shows where at the show I'm figuring out pricing things at the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, the level of facilitation, that level of being able to take those ideas and to take these methods and approaches that you're implementing, not only in how you create yourselves, but being able to facilitate that so that other people can engage in your processes and utilizing your stuff. Paula said something really powerful a few minutes ago. Just give me a second. Sorry. She loves to create and is very organized, but hates IT and social media stuff. And she affirms that Team PM is the perfect balance to allow the world to share and learn. And I think that, and I'm sorry, everybody, I can't keep up with the chat and but I appreciate so much everybody doing, and I'm trying to look at it, and I promise you I'm going to go back and read everything. And but I think that that's a really strong and valuable point, is that it's not only that you guys are just have this joy of creating, but that you are able to engage in it so openly and to be able to share that with others. But then you're taking it a step even farther, and saying, well, let's here's some things that you can utilize in order to enable you to play with the things that we play with, so that you can explore your own creativity. And that's, to me, that's one of the most valuable things.
And one of the next jumps from there was that we knew we wanted to take on some other people in the community as well. And so that's like when Fran was like, she was struggling. Like, I saw her making stencils, and it's kind of one of those things where you feel weird going, well, do you want us to like cut and sell your stencils? At first, like that's how it felt.
Sure.
Like that it was saying, hey, you didn't want it hurting my feelings, that it's like, do you need help? Do you want us to provide that part of the service? And she was like, heck yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you should feel weird about that. I mean,
you don't ever want to step on somebody's toes and say,
"Oh, you don't." But at the same time, right? To reach forward and say, "Hey." So Lori and I started a comic book company in 2015 because when we moved my studio, that was downtown London here, and merged it with my home studio into the house. She found 3 finished, completely written and illustrated books in a drawer, and wondered what was wrong with me. So we started publishing those, and immediately upon that, I started opening up the opportunity to others. If you've got stuff you're working on, and let's figure out a way. We'll put together an anthology so we can get 4-page shorts together, and that way, if you want to pursue this avenue for yourself, for work or whatever else, you've got this copy of a thing that you've been published in. Go and market yourself with it,
Yeah.
And by the end of, or by 2019, well, our current numbers is we've published 73 books and over 300 people.
Wow.
But it's more of a collaborative thing where, you know, and every month I run a comic book jam at a gallery downtown with my good friend Doug Rogers that was on the stream recently, and where we walk people through the processes of telling sequential storytelling, and try to enable them in the dialogue of expressing themselves through that means. And so some of the people that we have worked on that with have now been getting portfolio reviews by DC and Marvel and all these larger publishing companies. And they started off with the jam, you know, and then moving up to a 1-page story that they put together a whole page on their own. And then they went up to a 4-page act, and then books, you know. And so enabling somebody to say, look, you're doing the stenciling. How can we help you facilitate this to be something that you're aiming for? Because you guys have the capability to do that. And sometimes it's that short step that then empowers that person to then go about, well, I've got lots of designs, and you guys have got that other part.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's dance. You know, that's great. That's so uplifting for people.
Well, and
so, but I know that initially you got this awkwardness of like, you want to be in this thing. You want to
now I usually don't have any problem. And then, you know, a lot of times nowadays, even people say, hey, Mariah, are you taking on a new designer or this or that? Which right now at this moment we are not, because we just can't handle.
I have a backlog.
I mean, and really it's not about us handling new designers. It's more about handling the orders that are coming in, and then being able to, you know, pay attention and give the love to new people that would, you know, bring them on board, because it does take a little bit of time and adjustment to them getting their designs in and talking to them about it, and, you know, just walking them through the whole process, along with then getting out, you know, samples to various people. Like right now on the whole stamp thing, we have a few people waiting for their stamp samples. So
I mean, you
know, we're selling your stuff, but you know, you have to wait for your sample.
Well, all these things take time, right? I mean, it's one thing to just dive in and to do the thing, but that works on this scale.
Yeah.
Once we're, you know, now you're making that thing, whatever that is, that creative venue in this place, or in this case, it's the stencils. This level takes a little more organization than just make and do.
Yeah.
You know, and that can be challenging for people, because the immediacy of I've made this thing.
Yeah. Okay, now it should all come together and boom. I think, you know, and what's so funny is you say it like that. I find that I think even a lot of times YouTubers, and even myself, you know, that it's like, okay, well, I'm on YouTube. I have a channel. Well, why aren't people showing up? Let me tell you, it takes a ton of work. And in fact, I would say, like, that whole time that I was talking about, that whole transition from, you know, mainly focusing in on like doing Liquid Fly Designs to doing PMR Studio, Brad was like, you were spending so much time like online. I'm like, I have to. Like, if I want this to happen, this is the stuff that we used to tell our clients. Like, if you want this thing to happen, you have to put in the work. Even if you take it to a marketing company, there's still a large quantity of content, ideas, what you want, what available assets do you have? Do you need to create more in order to then create the content to put out and show people, this is what I do, this is what I'm thinking about? You know, all of that takes so much time and energy, but you will get it in return. Sometimes it just takes a little while.
Well, that's so true. So last January of 2023, I had 26 people that followed my YouTube. You know, and we just broke 300. And all I'm doing is the streams Monday through Friday. And, when it comes to shorts, when it comes to videos, Mariah, you just help me out by suggesting a program to use. I've created a bunch of things. Have I implemented them? No. But have I made a bunch of videos? Yes. Have I done anything with them? Not yet.
Building your content library.
That sounds so good.
Smart.
The reality is that I'm an engine. I'm not a conductor.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense at all.
That's a lot like P over here. She can create, and I get so angry with her when she's like, I have some really great things on the plate and you didn't come up, so I just pulled them. I'm like, dang it, woman, because she creates the art. A majority, yeah. I mean,
well, you do as well. Don't.
Yeah, but a majority
you do as well.
of it.
You do good stuff too. I mean, it's. You're both very talented.
I just don't feel like mine is as much fun. Like I enjoy, I tell you, it was a game changer. Which it was one of those little silly things. I was like, all right, you know what? Whatever we're doing on Instagram is not. People are not loving it. I mean, I'm taking beautiful photographs. I'm doing, living the large lake, magazine style. Like I can do that all day long. But it's boring to people. It doesn't tell a story and it doesn't connect. I said, so, we need to take this whole idea that, one of the things that people, why they show up to our live streams is because they like to hang out with us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's
complete sense.
I'm pretty sure that's part of it.
Yeah. And yet there's an incredibly strong tutorial part of what you two do.
I think
there's so much information that people can glean just from cast off statements while you're working on stuff.
That's all over the internet. But
True it is, but there's a difference to somebody going, so here's the way I draw and I'm perfect and I'm an amazing artist and everybody should draw like me. And then there's somebody going, you know what, I'm going to smush some of this around and see what I've got.
But see, that's our personality. That's what
that personality is the important part.
That there's only us. Like there's only one set of P&M. And that was the draw versus, because you can get the art. We're not showing you anything that is mind-blowingly, oh my God. Because if that was the case, we'd be trending all over the fucking place. Just to be honest about that. But they show up because we love on our community. We love the community. We love that part is why we show up. The art part is kind of a bonus and this fun thing that we do.
Because I bring out nets that have been saved.
She brings out the net. The produce.
Oh, is that onion net?
No, that particular one I think was from the avocados.
Yeah,
okay.
The green one was from avocados. The red one was from oranges.
And you got a blue one up there. I was just noticing. But it's holding the snake skins, which is kind of
holding the snake skin together. It's
functional. It has a job. That one's being used.
I've been saving the onion nets. And I've even gone so far as to say, is there I could chop up some onions, just because I want that net. And it's hard for people to figure that out. But I can completely understand the idea that you're saying about when you just put the visual workout and people look at it and go, yep, next thing. Yep, next thing. Because that's what people do, right? But the fact that with the engagement that you have through the Makers group and through what you're doing through your stream, that's the part where you're inviting others into the dialogue of, this sounds really ridiculous, but you're inviting others into the dialogue of creative expression. And that empowers them through your engagement with them and through the exampling that you're doing and how you're producing works and you're being so free and open and your sharing of it and your sharing of your personalities that encourages them to go, I'm going to give this jelly plating thing a try.
Yeah.
And you've got stencils, so there's that sort of, there's a degree of reciprocity to it, but at the same time, because everybody's got to live, but at the same time, it's that there's such value in the sharing and the process of it,
Well,
You
I
know,
think
like,
this is that's the true part, and that is what social media should be.
yeah,
That was where it was like, as soon as you start taking out that aspect of it, of just, I am here and only about my stuff and what I want to show, and this is just me. Well, you're not being social.
no, no,
You are just showing the world, your stuff, and that's great. And if that's how you want to go about it, do it. But if you want to create a true community and you want that social interaction that social media is supposed to be, you have to put in the work, and you have to bring in and tell people, hey, you're like me. Come on.
yeah.
I love, we know it's okay. Save the produce net. It's fine. Come along. And we're going to show you
Save the produce net.
and then we're going to talk about some inappropriate things, and Peace is going to make her art, and then we're going to be all chatty over on the nerd, and it's all good. But it's taken a little while for us to kind of, number one, just gain the confidence towards it. I mean, half the time we were just like, hallelujah, the stream started. I mean,
I turned on the right thing.
yeah. Or
Yeah.
the computer decided to start today. That was good, because we used to have this, and there's quite a few people here that were here still when we had the laptop that the fan would start up. And I think you were kind of running into that the other day with your mic being close to your computer.
Oh,
yeah.
If it wasn't for the assistance of yourself and Dee Dee Willingham's been a great aid for just the advice of going, move your mic over an inch.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that makes sense.
Because I don't know. I'm too on the paper. There's this necessity for me to express myself visually and textually, and that's where I'm coming at it. And if I can share and engage with others and sort of say, hey, here's a weird thing I do with tissue paper, sticking it down on other sheets of paper before I draw on them, and somebody else takes that and runs, that's fantastic. But it's an incredible gift that in my brief time of doing this thing at streaming it all, is that I just passed 300 people, and you got people with 60,000, 2 million, whatever. I'm not them. I'm not worried about what they're doing. But
I do sometimes worry about what they're doing.
Well, they're giving away turkeys.
I'm just giving away gel presses and whatever,
Hey, who wants a car? Well, if you want to work on this scrapbook idea.
Well, and that's one of the things. It becomes kind of this weird struggle too. That it's like you want to make sure that you build the journey that you're supposed to be on, and it's hard not to kind of every once in a while go, okay, why isn't this happening faster?
Yeah.
Well, I have those moments. And
I think everybody has those moments. That's a completely natural thing. My kids have those. My grandkids have those. Of course, that's natural. But, like my oldest grandkid is 12, and she's
nothing's ever fast enough when you're 12.
Yeah, that's exactly where my headspace is going. It's like, she wants to do these things, and she was at one point. She was going to be a YouTuber who talked about the different things that she ate for lunch, and okay, does that feel good? Is that something that you really feel driven towards? And it's very popular. Okay, right? She did too, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this thing that I've kind of realized, is that you can tell authenticity immediately, and you can tell that you two are just who you two are during your streams. And
actually, no, there's slight filtering.
Well, no. There might be filtering.
I want to be real to people that if you saw the real show around here, we would have to be on some paid per view kind of situation.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I even have to start the jams.
I'm getting better at it.
She is.
What'd she say?
She's getting better.
And it helps.
Well, there we go.
Drink.
Yeah.
I even have to start the comic jams that I run each month, because they're all ages events. I even have to start those jams with, keep your word hang-ups at home. We don't need those on the page or in the room. Yeah. And no effing and a jeffing. And that's mostly for me. It's just, it's just being honest. But authenticity is not necessarily the restraint that we try to be, you know, and be civilized as the civility. It's
Yeah.
the authenticity is that you guys are naturally doing what you're doing, and you're naturally approaching your, not just your work, but your camaraderie that you're sharing with others, and the encouraging aspect of that comes through. And if you were to, you know, and yet you have a naturalistic approach to, hey, thumbsies upsies, right? That's great. You know, that's so great, as opposed to this whole, you know, hey, don't forget to put the thumbs, you know, and all that dramatic hoo-ha car salesman nonsense.
I don't even really remember exactly like the whole why the thumbsy upsies thing started. I think
It's
I was
fun.
just it was a playful thing because I think I had watched again one of like the kind of crazy streamers or whatever, and they're like, you know, they had a little thing that they said, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I could be really cute and just like play off of that and be like thumbsy upsies. I didn't think it was gonna stick, and then people started like saying it in the chat, so I was like, okay, well, I guess that's pretty good. I can do that.
So I just noticed something in the chat, and that is Paul to the Pate, Mr. Paul Pate, has said, "Oh, we want to see the real show, and we will pay." So there might be a secondary stream for you to consider on the.
I'm glad that you said that. So here's one thing, because it has come up in a couple of different situations over the years about being behind a paywall of any sort. Because they're like, well, why don't you guys do classes? I wish you guys this is the P look. This
Really.
Hold on, I put the page up that I got the P look at the bottom of it.
Yes, that would be perfect.
Go ahead, say what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Because one of the things, again, it's that whole. She's like, I had a job. I didn't, you know, like showing up and like being, you know, having these expectations because of money paid is much different to what we do.
Yeah.
We want this to be something that is accessible by anyone that wants to be there. Not because you have the means to be there and you feel like you are owed something for being there. And that's that's a personal thing.
See, that goes back to the authenticity part.
And we knew that, but then where we monetize, not that we aren't about the money, because, you know, we got to pay some bills and we want to, you know, continue housing all of
living here, because moving is just too painful.
Moving is painful.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we don't, Lori and I don't ever plan on moving again. I completely get that.
I would say that we would consider it, but because we need more space to be able to do the whole PM Artist Studio stencil stamp business part of things.
Oh, sure.
Because it's, you know, taking over, you know, we have a little side garage thing, which that's where the stamps get cut. And then we cut the stencils in our office, which is a small office. Like it's an office for one, but there are two people and four crickets.
And bookcases and
storage and you boat and
light boot
everywhere. That's really where the whole, like, all right, if we're going to monetize this, it has to be something. And that was the other thing, is like, we weren't going to be artists that were going to sell. We like our stuff. We don't want to, you know.
Well, they couldn't afford to buy it.
That's right.
Well, I was just thinking about how much I would charge for my tree book.
Oh my God. Thousands.
Yes. 4 or 5 at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think the hours that go into it, and people are like, oh, well, but, you know, or charge by square inch or this or that. And I'm like, that's
those pricing rubrics are nightmares. They're just nightmares.
Plus, I really like it a lot.
You know what the thing is?
How do you price that?
The art is about, now I say, I think if you're doing a commission piece and you kind of come at it without, I think, having total emotional investment in it, you know, like you know that you can't get attached to it. I think maybe that's a little bit better. Still would be very hard for me. Because like as I do something, I get attached to it.
Yeah.
And it's part of like, just something that I created. And then I'm like, I don't know if they're going to love this as much as I do. I worry about that. And I don't know that you can put a monetary value on that. But here, I'm going to sell you the stencil and the stamp and the other things and the papers and whatever else that you need if you want to create this. And then we're going to do it online. We're going to be funny about it. And if you want to recreate it in your own way, that's what we're about.
See, Mo made a point here. The tree book cannot have a price tag. It's worth so much more than just the art part.
Yeah.
That's a great point, because I mean, that's the second aspect of you guys. It's not just, what you just described, right? It's totally that. But then in addition to that, there's so much value in the exampling of your processes that it's not just the value for the book. It's not just the value that, you might garnish from it, but there's so much value in all the people that are watching those processes.
Mm-hmm. Especially
if they're seeing the thing, that some of those things are things available to them to utilize themselves. That's I'm one of, as a creative person, I go to the dollar store. I buy cheap paint. I buy whatever. I use everything around me. I'm not one of those people that he who has the greatest toys wins. Because it's not about that. It's just about the creativity and the expression and utilizing whatever you've got. And I think that you guys have managed to turn that into something that equips not just you, but equips so many more.
And I will say, if any of the fancy paint companies do want to send us things, we are not against that.
And I dang sure will use it.
I've decided to start, whenever I'm about to use something, I go, for this next painting, I'll be using cheap paint.
And here's
on this drawing, I'm using Bombay inks. Bombay inks. It's not just for breakfast anymore.
Or gin.
What were you going to say, Patricia? I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and if I find another cheaper brand that is comparable or even has superior qualities to it.
See, this is the problem. This is the cheese problem. Kraft cheese.
The cheese problem.
This is the cheese problem. Kraft cheese was fantastic and okay in my life until I had better cheese. It's also, this is true of concerts. If you ever get the backstage or the nice sweet treatment, it's very hard to go back to a concert and then just be in amongst the people.
Soy polloi.
Yeah.
Oh, if you have access to
bathrooms and drinks, I'm like, what? This is
I'm going to go to a football game as soon as that happens.
That is also, sporting events up in the suite. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Plus, if they have internet, I could bring my computer.
It's really mainly about the bathrooms and the access to quick drinks.
Yeah.
Quick drinks and bathroom.
See, I'm sorry, but I get excited if I fit in a seat. My scale on that's a little bit off. If I can get my size 15s under the chair in front of me, hey.
You're good with that.
Yeah, there's a sort of limited joy that
the normies. Yeah,
there's a little limited joy factor that kicks in for me a lot easier than it does for many others because hey, I fit in here. It's I don't have to duck. Yeah,
or we're little people, so that's usually height wise we are.
Hey, big personality.
Size is a different deal.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, those seats. Remember, on the Frontier airline, way judgier than American.
Well, I've been reading.
The last airplane I got on. Sorry.
Go ahead.
JetBlue seems to be the way to go for leg room and.
Oh, is it?
Seat accommodations.
Have you checked into the pricing?
I haven't, but I have a different viewpoint after that Frontier experience.
I'll tell you.
Oh my God.
They are Kraft cheese of airlines.
So I got on a 20-seater here in London to fly to Toronto. And then in Toronto, I was taking a 747, 757 across to Vancouver, across the country. So the 20-seater I got onto, once I had ducked my way through the cockpit, because I'm 5'18". This is where this comes from. So once I got through there, she immediately sat me in a seat at the front because it had more space, for it. And then she says this: as soon as the flight lifts off the ground, I'll grab you a beer. Like, just, calm this thing. Like, as soon as I came in, she's like, because clearly lots of apprehension and tension was on my face. But, it's just immediately, as soon as I get on, it's, I could see the faces on other people. Like, what side's he going to sit on? Should we balance it? Like, it's, and, the next plane that I got on, it was the same thing. I'm walking down the aisle and you get those looks of awkwardness. So whenever I go and do anything, I'm not entirely concerned about, much more than, can I just be comfortable sitting there for a moment and just,
size matters.
Yeah. Can I just sneak my way through here without knocking everything over? So with the kids having, what used to be our family room is now my studio. And until the kids were out of the house, my studio was 9x10 and had so much stuff in it, and hodgepodge desks, whatever, this surface and that surface, and then now, since 2021, my studio is 16x22 because it's our old family room downstairs. And, despite that, I have crammed myself into a 10-foot by 10-foot amount of it with a wraparound desk that is complete, I would say. That's the word I'm going to use.
That is so funny that, so P works this way too. Like, she wants, and then she puts in, a little slider, during the streams, there's a little slider desk thing. So she's, locked in. So she has, 360.
I'm surrounded.
Yeah. I've got a 2.5-foot opening for me to walk in and out. And right now there is a cat stool that sits in front of it. So it's almost like I've forcibly blocked myself in some way anyways. But that's Corbin's seat. He's just upstairs having a nap. So, creative. We want to have everything accessible. We want to have everything nearby. It's completely.
She feels that way about the kitchen too, and I find this to be disturbing because I am like, there are cabinets and drawers for a reason. It is to put things away.
Well, we had a big, open, spacious, open concept kitchen in our house, and I said to Lori for a couple of years, I said, because we recognize that I can see things that aren't there, and she benefits from seeing an example in a physical way, right? So we got this open concept kitchen, and for 2 years, I'm like, we should put an island in here. We should make this more compact. And she's like, I don't see it. And so one day I asked her to grab an end of a bureau that we have. And can we just help me take it over here? Just because I was painting that wall. It was a perfect excuse. So we move it over into the center of the kitchen where the island could go, and set it down. And she goes, okay. And I went, doesn't this look good here?
This trickery.
Now we have an island.
Oh, okay. You won the island battle.
And she looks at it and goes, oh, I got all these surface for baking. This is great. But, in my head, I'm like, it's probably more of a, get everything around me kind of a thing. Because
we have an island, and it is it captures a lot of passerbyers that become residents of the island.
Like items just go by and go, I want to sit here.
Just hang out here. Yeah. It's this dump zone of things.
It's not a dump zone. It's another way of creatively expressing yourselves.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
Uh-huh. I think she
validations are really
well, and Brad, the funny thing is Brad also agrees with this whole, he likes things to be out so he can see it and know where it's at, because he feels like I also they gang up on me and accuse me of hiding things, which is really me just putting it back into the pantry or the drawer or the
a folder
or the folder where it belongs.
Which is really weird in the kitchen, but
yeah, there
yeah,
are in my kitchen. I will tell you,
we all have these creative ways that we work, and we all have these different approaches to how we go about doing it. And I think that when it shows itself, like you can't, maybe it makes more sense to say you can't help but show yourself,
Yeah.
right? Like there's a point of being honest, like, you know, self-censoring or whatever is not that it's dishonest. It's that you're doing it for the greater good.
Yeah.
But then there's the rest of you that you can't censor. Like you can't censor the authentic selves and the authentic creativity and the approaches that you take, you know. And I think that this is something I'm noticing, which is what a gift this is to see so many other people in this larger community of the worldwide interweb of people that are just themselves and doing what they're doing and saying, oh, yeah, I made a thing. And that's great. I mean, that's a fantastic part because they can't hide who they are this way.
Yeah.
You know, that just comes through. But it doesn't mean we can't challenge ourselves and challenge them too. Right? Like it doesn't mean that we can't push, like, because I'm constantly trying to push myself in what it is, the ways that I'm approaching storytelling and the way that I'm approaching just whatever subjects are suggested to me. And before I forget, if anybody here, I always forget to do this because I don't have the remember, you know, I don't remember about saying all the key things I need to say during the stream.
You want me to do it?
If Eddie, do you want the suggestion idea?
Oh, the suggestion idea?
Yeah, if anybody has a story suggestion, a one-page story suggestion, they can sum up in a couple of sentences, or just a notion or an idea, or 3 prompt words, or anything like that. You are more than welcome to put it in the comments on my Instagram or Facebook, or the comments on this video. You can put it in this chat as well, because like I said, I'm going to read this chat after the fact.
Hey, if you're new to this channel and you like what you're seeing, be sure to come back. Leave those comments. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to give those thumbsy upsies, y'all.
That's so much better now. I do it.
I used to practice.
Well, I just don't have that facility in me to remember some of those. It's not, I got to put a little more polish.
So here's
shine.
Here's some little tips and tricks on that whole thing. Remember, I used to write out scripts, not only like, okay, well, when we did regular videos, it was those intro things were written out.
Yeah.
For both P and I, because oh my God, I'd sit down with her and I'm like, okay, this is your part. Remember that? I'm like, which part do I read? She was so confused about, because I'm like, I think it's funny if I say, this is P over here, M over here. I tell you, like, and I
think that's brilliant. I think that's absolutely, it's one of the things that the first time I saw you do that, I'm like, oh, I'm sitting in.
She's like, this is silly.
That's great fun.
It took her a while. And yeah, she's still giving me the rolly eye, like, business.
See, I've written all that out. In fact, Lori has written that out for me, because what I wrote out was just 6 paragraphs long, and she went, "That's 1 paragraph of words. What are you doing?" And despite that, I've misplaced those papers, or I've had them up. I've put them up on a clipboard facing me, but that clipboard was in the way. And then where is it now? I've got to sit down and memorize the things that I need to remember to do.
But they do
before I forget. Sorry?
They do become habit. Like if you do the little thingy, then it's pretty easy.
Hey, Mariah, do you remember or recall where it is, the thumbsy upsy cutout that Judy P made?
I kind of remember what she's talking about. I don't know where it is. It's probably back in this cabinet somewhere.
Oh, we didn't throw it
Oh,
away.
God,
You may
no.
rest assured that didn't
No.
happen.
Yeah.
Nancy has written out scripts. Even if she's just introducing her band, she's written out scripts for her stage show. Yeah, Miriam's put a suggestion down. Thank you, Miriam. That's great. That's good fun. Yeah, anybody that wants to put suggestions down, please feel free to do so, and I will put them in the magic book, and I will do those pages. Okay, before I forget, because I forget things when I get swept up in
the combo.
Chatting. You two have fashioned some questions.
Oh no, we just have trivia. You want to do trivia?
We could do trivia. We can, by all means.
You got some good ones there?
Well, I'm going to name the categories.
Oh,
Okay.
category options. Okay.
Mischief.
All right.
Oh, mischief.
Pop culture.
Pop culture.
Creatures.
Ooh.
History-ish. Mischief. Humankind. Sexuality.
Oh. What do y'all think, chat? Let us know.
I like the ish.
Ish. History-ish.
Ish.
Or mischief.
It might have happened.
Ish is the one that I have the most of.
Okay.
Okay. 19th century artist Rosa Bonheur needed permission from the French government to do what? A, dress as a man, aka wear pants, travel alone by train, to attend the École Beaux Arts, to marry another woman.
I'm going to go with pants.
Pants is it. The ordinance was given on May 12, 1857, giving Bonheur permission to dress as a man for which she was tromping through farms and animal fairs to make studies for her magnificent animal paintings. It did not apply to shows, balls, and other meetings.
Just so she knows her place.
Yeah.
And you only wear the pants when tromping through the,
Yeah,
farm.
Manure.
Manure's right.
Okay, here's one.
Here's another one.
What was
This is great.
Frida
This is great.
Kahlo's nickname for Leon Trotsky?
Frida Kahlo's nickname for Leon Trotsky.
You know who he was?
Oh,
yeah.
don't do that to me. You know that I don't.
Was it Sweetie Pie?
He was the liberal that got it all started, but they did away with him.
There's a fantastic film that was made here in Canada, starring a fella out of Toronto, where he's a high school student that looks and sounds like Leon Trotsky, and in fact his last name is Trotsky, and so he starts organizing and unionizing the students of his school in order to take on the school board and the school polity about the cafeteria and the food that's being served to them. And so he starts reenacting the forming of the Communist Party in a high school over a cafeteria.
Paula says little piggy.
Piochitas.
Piochitas?
Pio.
What does that mean, Eddie?
Chitas. AS is small. I don't
Is
know.
that little piggy?
Little
I like
piggy.
Barbara came up with the trots.
My little cutie porker.
Paula came up with the trots. I was going to say trotty baby, but I don't know if Frida would actually use that sort of expression.
Okay.
Mr. Trotsky?
You want me to change categories or continue with that category?
Keep on.
Okay.
Okay.
If you want to switch to another one, you're welcome to switch to another one. This is fun.
Okay. What happened to the 10,000 tons of black basalt stones that made up Robert Smithson's spiral jetty not long after he built it? I'm just going to tell you because that's just a bunch.
Probably became asphalt.
The rising lake level claimed the work for nearly 30 years.
Oh.
Only here recently, because of the drought and whatnot, is it now possible to go and.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
There you go.
That's interesting.
Oh, and I like this one a lot.
Marguerite knew that since they were flooded.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What biblical story have Caravaggio, Kinda Wiley, Gustav Klimt, and Artemisia Gentileschi all painted?
What is the first part of that?
I'll repeat it.
Please and thank you.
What biblical story have Caravaggio, Kinda Wiley, I don't know who
It's
that
them
person,
at the table, right?
Gustav Klimt, and Artemisia Gentileschi all painted? Oh, you want me to give you selections?
See,
Okay.
Klimt's the wild card in that.
Creation of Adam and Eve, Judith beheading Holofernes,
Yeah,
Noah's Ark, David and Goliath.
it's Judith.
Yes, it is. And Artemisia Gentileschi's painting, I think, is absolutely the most fabulous of the bunch. And, she painted many of them, not just one. And I think sort of her way of dealing, she was raped by her art teacher.
Yeah.
And of course, nothing was mentioned about it at the time. And I'm not even sure that she told people that would have had power to do something about it because of the stigma attached to it.
Right.
So she just went on with it. But I sort of think this was her way of channeling that anger, was painting, holding up, because, Holofernes was the captain of he was surrounding, and she snuck out at night and killed him. She was like a superhero person.
There you go.
Well, I've never thought that there was enough recognition of how important Artemisia was as an artist. It's, you go through these periods of art in school, and you're exposed to all of these fantastic, great big single named men.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there are some absolutely, it's almost like the only George O'Keeffe and Frida Kahlo are the only women that ever made art. It's when it comes to art history, like there's this sort of feeling of not enough appreciation in that.
Definitely.
Everybody's focused on Max Ernst the Scream and don't realize that there's 42 of them.
Yeah.
But yet we know nothing about Artemisia.
It really is. And I remember I took it was called Art and Ideas with Dr. Mittler back in the day. And we were looking at
this was at Texas Tech University.
We were looking at the painting by, oh my gosh, I can't remember, but it was the man that started painting common people and whatnot. That was what he was known for. And I'm sorry, the name escapes me right now. And I just said, I'm sure there was a woman doing the same thing better, but just didn't get recognized for such.
And how did that go?
She was at home. It's like Mary Cassatt painting
what did Dr. Mittler
mothers
say?
and children. What did Dr. He laughed and appreciated. I was the only one. I was an older student when I was there. I wasn't worried about what the professor thought or whatever. Because I didn't really care. I knew that, as long as I paid my money, there wasn't any way they could get rid of me.
There you go.
Showing up no matter what.
Yeah, and I did. And I love Dr. Mittler. He was wonderful. He was wonderful. All right. Moving along. What was Giuseppe Arcimboldo's role at Emperor Maximilian's Habsburg court?
Ooh.
Number 1, costume designer. 2, festival organizer. C, court painter. D, all of the above.
All the above.
Oh, you just guessed that.
I did.
It's true.
Yeah.
And down here in the little explanation thing, it says he also painted portraits of people made out of fruit. That's what he's famous for.
Oh,
Yeah.
The dude that, had, onion noses and sweet potato ears, but didn't seem to stop the court from giving him all the responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was interesting.
All right, here we go. Sexuality.
Oh,
Brace yourselves,
Wow,
folks.
we're changing gears here.
Yeah,
well, I had
it's
another
pretty
really
boring.
good one coming up here.
Okay, give us a good one first.
Okay. Michelangelo's statue of David is A, uncircumcised, B,
Yes.
a copy, C, a eunuch, D, wearing a sheet to cover his naughty bits.
Uncircumcised.
That's
But his wee got knocked off.
Well, yeah, okay, well, and here's why. Some scholars believe David was left uncircumcised in order to appease local church leaders of the time. A simpler explanation might just be that in Renaissance art, it was not customary to show the effects of this operation.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting when you think about it.
Moving along with sexuality, which of these fruits commonly appears in Renaissance paintings as a symbol of fertility?
Oh.
A, quince, B, pear, C, cherry, D, peach.
Pear. I'm going with pear.
Peach.
Quince.
Yeah, I was going to say pomegranate to start off with.
Well, it's I had it once at Stephen Susie's. It's kind of a sour little fruit, and I don't know, it's not something that you just go to the grocery store and pick up.
And then you think, oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
What do I do with this?
That sounds about right.
Do I put this in a salad? Yeah. I was going to say pomegranate until you went through your list. And because you'll see that oftentimes in paintings, because it's such a weird looking fruit, I think certain artists would put that into compositions because maybe they thought it made it more interesting. But
oh yes,
quince.
I've actually had quince jelly. Also.
How do you spell that?
Quince.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
He was a detective, wasn't he? Sorry.
She doesn't get things like that.
What? Well, I can't hear very well.
He said he was a detective, right? Okay, move on.
The female teenage mutant ninja turtle took the name Venus from which of these works of art featuring the goddess of love?
Milo.
A, the birth of Venus. B, Venus de Milo.
Yes.
C, the Venus of Willendorf. D, the Venus of Urbino.
B.
We're just really knocking it out of the park.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like the most logical.
Oh yeah,
She is
I've got that book.
Did you get that one too? She is the only turtle named after a work of art rather than an artist.
She's
You
also
can
the
be
only female
excused for
turtle.
not remembering her, as a female turtle only appeared in the late 90s TV version
I was
called
gonna say,
Ninja.
Yeah, I didn't know that
The
there was one.
next mutation, and it seems the creators didn't want anyone to remember her either.
She's in the books now. She's in the
Oh,
comic books now. There is a female turtle in the books now because a young lady was given a transfusion by one of the turtles, and it genetically changed her. And it was so controversial amongst that community, because of all the different facets of it, the fact that you can give a blood transfusion, blah blah blah, or girls, icky yuck. You would think that there would be.
Yay!
There's an entire team of secondary Ghostbusters that includes. That's half. It's half of the lady supporting stars that have been in their shows and their cartoons and the films. That community had absolutely no problem with that. You do a complete female Ghostbuster movie, they lose their minds. It's a weird hang-up. It's a weird association that certain communities have about change.
It really is. It's so bizarre because it's like, by the way, this is all make-believe. So what?
Yeah, I growing up, my favorite comic book was a book called The Legion of Superheroes. Started in 1958. It's as ridiculous as you want a comic book about people that have magic powers that make them do things could be, with Cosmic Boy and Saturn Girl and Lightning Lad and Bouncing Boy. There's a Matter Eater Lad. Guess what his power is? He eats things. And that book in '89 introduced gender transition and introduced same-sex couples. It introduced all of these different elements that there's all this hubbub and palaver over today.
Yeah.
It introduced 1989. And that community great. Because it's the future. Things are going to be different, And
Yay, it should be.
And in the last 10 years, these big comic book companies have been releasing special. This is a special book because this person's gay.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of missing the point. On you can have different than the expected norm characters and creators and works that just are. They just are. And yet here we're going through this trivia, and you've got stuff like the turtle thing, but you've also got Artesia and all kinds of fantastic creators that don't get enough said about them. It's sad. It's ridiculous. But I'd like to think that creative communities are more open-minded than others. But
well, I think there are that you have the creative community, but then you have the mass consumption. Where the mass consumption comes into play is that they don't understand what was created and how and why it was created.
And it seems threatening.
And they just want the entertainment and the mass consumption.
And it needs to be safe and knowable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree with what you said. I was just laughing because
yes. Yes.
What you said.
There's some nerding happening.
Yeah, that's the challenge. As from a creative standpoint, we want to produce stuff, and we want to do the things that we do and make the things that we make, and to bridge that connection with others, not only to encourage them in their processes, but to also engage with them and have them the capitulation of we produce the thing. Somebody looks at it and goes, "You made a thing," and then it becomes that whole other kettle of fish about the fine arts community. Or the publishing world, or
don't get me started on some of those YouTubers. But anyway, I gotta say.
Well, okay. You know what? Somebody called me. It was one of my kids called me a YouTuber yesterday, and I went, "A what?" I never even for a moment considered myself as a YouTuber.
I think as long as you have made more than one video, you are a YouTuber.
I did a couple last year.
I think officially then you have the YouTuber title. That doesn't come with the plaque though. You get the plaque when you get 100,000 subscribers, and I would really love it because even though I'm not about things, I really would love that validation in life.
I just want to know if you can wear it.
I'm so close. What's that?
And she wants to know if she can wear the plaque. I'm like, no. I'm just gonna put it like
you put a chain on it, and that's hip today. That's hip with the kids.
I'll make her a little one. If we hit 100,000 subscribers and we get a plaque, I'll make her a little one.
I am so close.
Silver.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Are we ready for another?
Yep.
I'm still on sexuality.
Sexuality.
While often an attribute of the Virgin Mary, which of these animals can also be interpreted as a symbol of lust?
Lamb. No.
Lust.
Oh, lust.
A, partridge. B, rabbit. C, dove. D, all of the above.
I really want to say all of the above.
Are you sure?
Well, because they give you that, but no. Okay, now you said, "Are you sure?" So then,
rabbit.
Rabbit.
You were right in your first. All of the above. Now I'm going to read.
Oh.
I know. Listen to this though.
Trickery.
Why lust? Because the dove is also historically associated with Venus. The partridge was believed to be so rapacious for sex, the male would destroy eggs so the female would be more available. And rabbits just do what rabbits do.
Rabbits do.
They eat carrots.
Yeah.
There you go.
They make other rabbits.
Oh, I never thought of that.
All eating carrots. They're multitaskers.
Now we're going to the other side of the spectrum here rather than...
Okay.
All right, what do we got?
Which of these birds was commonly used as a symbol of purity in Renaissance paintings?
Dove.
Symbol of purity in Renaissance.
You're jumping ahead, Mariah.
Okay, sorry.
A, parrot. B, goldfinch. D, peacock. D, all of the above.
I feel
Renaissance paintings.
Yeah.
What?
Is this another all of the above? I swear
No,
they're okay.
It is not.
Well,
Okay.
no, Renaissance paintings had a lot of peacocks in them. Or is that post-Renaissance?
It's just going to blow you away. I would never have guessed it either. A,
Well, my first thought is the little bird, the tiny bird, the bullfinch or whatever it is.
here's the rationale for this. The parrot was understood as a symbol of chastity because the cry it makes is similar to the Latin word ahave.
Oh.
Did I do a good one?
I have a.
Hold on, let me try it. Pretty bird. Yep.
Gabriel
I hear it.
greeted the Virgin Mary at the Annunciation. Whether or not it seems like a stretch, parrots often feature in portraits of young ladies advertising their virginity.
Pretty bird.
Pretty bird.
Sexy lady. Yeah.
I never thought that
Looking for a good time.
Who's a pretty bird? Virgin.
Okay, here. Well, this is a little more contemporary, y'all.
Oh.
Eddie's choice was titmouse.
It wasn't one of the selections there, Eddie.
That might have been.
It's funny because he said it's funny because it includes the word mouse.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Which of these artists married a porn star?
Oh.
Jeff Koons, Dale Chihuly, Eva Hess, Janine Antoni.
I'm gonna go with Chihuly.
That's good. It's a fun name. But
Anybody else?
Okay, then it's Hess because I don't think it's Koons.
what's
It
that?
is Jeff Koons.
Really?
I was
I
going to
know.
say
Remember,
because
he's the guy that did the blow up
Yeah, the bubble. Yeah, the
balloon dog.
balloon
I
dog.
thought Coons was too obvious though.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
He's got to represent.
World-renowned. Well, y'all are up on porn stars, I can see.
it's not-
World-renowned porn star Ciccolina's illustrious career included peeing on her audience and also spending 5 years as a member of the Italian parliament. She divorced Koons and was awarded custody of their only child.
Italian. See, that's different.
They are.
Different.
Italian porn
They can still be in parliament. Now, not to say that they can't be part of the House of Representatives these days, but you know. Whatever.
Okay, moving right along. One half of an artist power couple, Frida Kahlo was married to which other artist?
Oh, well,
Starts
that
with a D and then an R.
they got
Diego
Rivera.
Rivera. Yeah.
She was madly in love with him, and I don't know why. He was a
ass.
frog, and he was a creep, and
He's much older.
yeah, he was screwing her sister on the side.
My.
Okay, who was Alfred Stieglitz's
Wonderful murals.
favorite subject to paint? Alfred Stieglitz was Georgia O'Keeffe's main squeeze.
Not married.
I don't think they ever got married.
No, she's.
You know, there's this part of me, and I hope this doesn't offend anybody's sensibilities, but there's this part of me that desperately hopes it's tall spires or some kind of, I don't know, phallic thing.
Phallic things, tall spiral.
Oh yeah, and
There's
Russia
just this,
has the onion spires or the
There's
onion
just-
domes.
Yeah.
there's just this part of me that thinks that would be poetic.
Did he paint those sorts of things?
I don't know.
Isn't he the
Because George O'Keeffe was known for
He
her
didn't-
valleys
okay,
and
no,
things.
Stieglitz did not. Yeah, her.
That's
flower,
where he
her
was going.
Vulva.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's where he was going. With
Okay, so no, Stieglitz did not paint anything. He was a photographer.
That. Oh,
Black and white stuff.
tall
Yeah.
buildings.
That was a red herring there or something.
Oh, I see.
Okay, I cannot pronounce his first name, so I'm just going to pronounce the last. Hokusai is known for his renderings of Japanese landscapes as well as for producing shunga. What is shunga?
I think it's some
It's
type of cartoon. Like, I mean, like there's manga, right? Or what do they call it?
Manga.
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 Shunga.
Shunga.
For some reason, I think that's some sort of calligraphy or some sort of sweet painting.
No, it was early modern porn.
Oh,
Translated literally, it means picture of spring. Spring being a common euphemism for sex.
there you go.
Okay, we're done with sexuality.
That's probably good. I think we probably skirted as much of that as we needed to,
Boys and girls are different.
without being pay-per-view.
See, now if we had monetized this,
No. So if you want to know a little bit about that, I can give you more information if you kind of want to understand how all that works. I mean, even
what's
with
that? Monetizing stuff?
Yeah. So even
Oh,
if you
no.
were cussing or doing any of that really ultimately, even if you're dropping F-bombs, isn't going to affect your monetization. Unless, of course, you want sponsorship or anything like that. And then depending on like what ads they would drop onto your videos, it could have some minor things there. Being demonetized is not necessarily like a big old, like it just says, hey, we're not going to drop ad, or there won't be, you will not get ad revenue from this. Doesn't mean that they're still not going to drop ads there, but you're not going to receive any ad revenue from it.
Is it the same for political stuff too?
So with political stuff, I don't know how YouTube handles that. Like, that's not something I've really come in contact with as much as far as like information. But copyright issues is where you can really get dinged and could be taken off of YouTube if you hit those like if you are infringing on copyright. I've only had one ding for that, and it was early on because I used a free source for music. They tried to put a copyright claim on it, but I had the little code thing from where I had downloaded it, and I said, "Hey, no, I'm well within rights of using it, but I didn't have it in the listing of the video, so I needed to put that back in there because I had gone through and changed some things in my descriptions, because sometimes I do that because depending on information that's coming about, if information is trending, or if I'm just feeling like, hey, I need to add more to that description, I do. But like older videos, they don't have our links and all of the stuff that we have going on now. So sometimes I go back to the older ones, and I had done that, and then they dinged me, and I was like, oops, sorry, I need to just put that back in there, let them know where the music's coming from.
Oh, okay.
But that's where you can get really, music is one of those things. Number one, I just don't even feel like it's worth it messing with. I used to do it. I used Bensound or whatever it was, which is a great little service. And, if you buy it and then you just drop the little link on there, it's fine. You're great. You're good to go. Most people end up complaining about, well, not most people, but there's enough complaint that happens during those videos that it's like, it's not even worth dropping in any little bit of sound, because audio is very difficult to control.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I found that in general.
Yeah.
Not just for
me too, even headsets and things. Just getting online.
It's interesting, all of the ins and outs, and I as I'm doing more and more of these videos, and I'm trying to refine myself just a little bit. There's so many things that you become exposed to this. Here's this thing. If you utilize this and implement that into your social platforms, and I'm like, that first step, I can do the whole. I can make up these fun things to implement into the social platform, but I'm never going to implement them into the social platform, just because I had fun making it, but now I've got to facilitate putting that in there. And then if I did something, that did meet some sort of standards or something like that, like putting clips of something into whatever my stream is, and somebody's like, oh, you use too much of that stripped.
Oh, we're getting over on Instagram. It's painful because like early on, I would drop music in because I would take the sound. Well, a lot of times around here, just doing a video with, even today, doing those videos where we talk. I mean, us getting like 1 minute worth of set, like just us talking versus everything happening in the house. People, laughing, crying, sneezing, coughing, all of that is
flushing the toilet
is hard enough to just get that like bit of whatever. So early on, I would just grab the music because Instagram was easy to do that. Well, then it started like every once in a while, I still get one that says your video will not show in these countries because of, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
because they're not cleared in those places. And they're
I'm like, dude, I'm not making any money here. Why does it matter?
Yeah. Yeah. Miriam just reminded me that it's Corbin who makes my videos because I've made that claim. I don't do these. Corbin does. And this is how we have, because otherwise I'm a one person show. So if I can get a little assistance from my cat, I'll take it.
Does Lori help you like with video stuff or any of that?
No. it's she's tried to. She sat down and looked at programs with me, and we've done a couple of videos that we've
Eddie,
started assembling together. But we work in very different ways, and she's very much figure out all the facets of a thing and assemble the thing in a very organized way. And I'm pieces flying over my shoulder. I'll break it before it works properly.
I understand that.
I never get one of those on Insta. It's interesting. See, I know for a fact I need to do more.
One of the reasons is that we are listed as a business.
Oh, there you go.
So once I changed that, listing, like, because whenever you say, okay, I'm a person or I'm a this or whatever, I'm a business. So that's one reason.
So this is my normal account. My business account is the Runciman Press website, or on YouTube and Facebook and whatever else. I have another thing, and I don't ever use that thing, and I rarely ever post at all, and so I wouldn't be surprised if I get dinged for things because they clearly know that this is where I'm doing all the business. Paula asked, I hear you say you have grandkids? I have 6 grandchildren. My oldest is 32. And I am a grandpa.
How old are you?
I'm a grandma. How old am I? 39 and holding.
Oh yeah, you said that the other day. Also,
I'm gonna jump. That's the Jack Benny. People used to go on the Tonight Show when Jack Benny was the host, and he'd say, "I'm having a birthday myself. I'm gonna be 39." And they say, "You were 39 last I was here, Jack." Well, if you're good at something, why change, right? And eventually, I will switch to the Burns, which is this year. I got to be turning about 100. I mean, I retired, but we'll take care of my parents. The repertoire of absolutely useless reference impressions that I can do, fantastic. All the people I can do impressions of, the general populace goes, who?
Oh, I know. Well, I knew who those were, so. I think you're a little bit older than I am, but not a lot. That's my guess.
I don't know.
Everybody's younger than I am.
How old am I? Am I 46? I think so.
Yeah.
Nancy says my oldest grandchild is 7, but my oldest child is 34. Yeah, my oldest grandchild is 12, and my oldest kid is 33. Yeah, 33 now. It's hard to remember all their ages. We had a fun moment the other day where we were picking up something because I had 3, Lori had 2. Together we have 5. Right? So we're
a blended family.
Big old blended family, and everybody's tight. All the kids are tight. It's great. So we were picking up something. Our youngest daughter is about to have her birthday, and so we're picking up something for her. And Lori says, "Oh, we're going to pick up some of these for our daughter for her birthday." And the girl goes, "Oh, that's so nice. How old is she?" And Lori did this. She goes, "Well, she's turning 27." And you saw in real time on her face the realization of how old. Well, she's turning 27.
When did that happen?
It was just great. It was so great. I had a belief when I was a kid. I found out my mother, because I had a single mom, I found out her name and her age when she was 32. When I turned 32, I realized, I guess I'm an adult now. And this last year has been interesting with my daughter Jamie being 32. I don't know what that makes me anymore. I'm old like my mother.
Yeah.
She's old.
All right. So do you want any more, or what's the plan here?
Let's do one more.
Okay.
One more. Good one. Spicy one.
A good one.
Spicy, he says.
Spicy.
Well, if it's good, if it's spicy, you hit us. Well, don't hit me. I'm sensitive, but.
Well, I have 2. One is by an artist. I don't know anything about it, but where's that other one?
Well, don't throw any knowledge.
Well, go for that one. There are a few things greater than the quizmaster putting out a question of something you have no idea about.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what did I do with it?
Because my baby's going to be home any minute now. And then, what the chaos that is. And we never know what her day's like. So
here we go. Bodily fluids.
Wonderful.
What inspired Jackson Pollock to experiment with drip paintings? A, his drooling dog. B, his fascination with pee. C, observing a leaky faucet. D, a happy accident.
What is is that happy accident?
There are no accidents. There are possibilities.
It's like I was just playing with it.
That's a Pollock quote.
Okay. His fascination with pee.
Yeah, of course.
Drip painting is a technique where paint is poured directly onto a canvas or dripped from the end of a paintbrush, similar to the way that pee drips, pours, and sprays out of a penis. Are you weirded out yet?
No. I'm not really surprised. Although I do want to say that he's probably maybe he should get his prostate checked.
Well,
it's a little late for that.
Yeah,
when he went to check it because
I meant when he started his vaccination with that, maybe he needed to get his prostate checked.
Well, one of the reasons I've always wanted a penis was so I could pee my name.
Me too.
Yeah.
So here's something. I can't remember her name, but Pollock is not the guy who developed drip painting. It was a female artist 5 years before.
Oh, and so see, there you go. And then
it was probably his wife, Elaine. No, that was
no, it wasn't. It wasn't her. It was somebody else. American. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, but she was experimenting. I think Pollock was 57. 1956, 1957, his first exhibition, and she was 1952.
See, he was totally
And he saw it. He went to it.
Yeah, he wasn't a very nice person either.
Most men that are
he was
of that caliber, artist dude, they are most of the time not very nice people.
Well, he's a schizophrenic alcoholic.
That'll do it.
That tends to make you combative.
70.
But anyways, it's not to dismiss Pollock and how the art world thinks great things of him, but he actually even attended her exhibition. So it's not to say that he stole her stuff, but she does need to be recognized for being ahead of the curve.
Well, and that is true so much of the time.
It's there's certain artists that I think make people uncomfortable enough to be remembered.
Janet Sobel.
Thank you. It is Janet Sobel.
Thank you. Google. Thank you, Google.
Nancy, yes. Yeah, Janet Sobel.
Yeah, Nancy and Paula.
Paula.
Was it Paula got it? Oh, Paula got it just before. Okay, thank you both. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Nancy.
And I think they had it before.
That would have bothered me all day. Yeah, there's interesting things in creative exploration that the ones that tend to get really remembered tend to be artists that make people uncomfortable, like Pollock, like Warhol, like Bacon. It's not necessarily that it's something that they're doing something that's just wonderful. It's that they're doing something that makes people uncomfortable or annoyed.
Yeah, typically, yes.
I have a Mapplethorpe here somewhere.
Okay,
Eddie.
So it was asked where we're getting this from. Now I'm going to do a little shameless thing and say if y'all want to go over to our little Amazon store or whatever, because that I actually have this listed, I think, under books and games, and it's called the Rogue Art History, the trivia game.
That's a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to find that.
There you go. Yeah. I'll send you an affiliate link.
Oh, cool. Super cool. Okay. Is there anything before we get to? Paula says that Sobel's Dripping Red is a wonderful painting. I think that might. Yeah. There's before we get to bringing things to a close. Is there anything aside from what you generally do that you would sort of you would like to try creatively, something outside of your regular wheelhouses that maybe the process of what we do on a regular basis doesn't permit us to explore?
Well, I mean, there are lots of things that art-wise we would love to be able to do, but just the space and like, how this studio is set up. I mean, we've talked about like pottery. I mean, he used to do pottery all the time, back in the day. We've thought about even, trying to get a college course or do something like that. Again, it's just out this way is not always easy to
Have to
find.
drive a long ways.
Yeah, which, usually means you have to head into Dallas, which is not always fun.
And it's at night and I can't go by myself.
Yes. And then like her jewelry is one thing that is, unaccessible because it's kind of been tucked away behind all of the gel printing business. And then
Jewelry making.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
A lot
Everything.
a lot of times
Yeah.
like any of the jewelry she's wearing or I'm wearing, she's made
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
back in the day. But a lot of the beading is not accessible. We do plan on doing some beading though coming up with Becky Bokern because they're going to send us some little kit things, which is pretty fun. So we'll get a little play at it, but it's not something we have access to do all the time because the tools and things aren't accessible.
I would like to do more sewing stuff.
I would too. But again, there's not a flat surface for the sewing machine.
To leave it up, and if you have to take it down and
Yeah.
put it up and take it down, you just don't do it.
There's
Well, I
a
mean, just-
tool over here that is prime, but that's up to this one over here deciding whether what's there now can be removed.
It's a creative thing. Is that you tend not to have just one focus on one thing, especially if you're a mixed media artist.
Yeah.
Largely mixed media artists is because we have a hard time settling on a thing.
Oh, well, no, and Pete, like even in our very first like channel intro, like our old one. Well, the reason we're mixed media is because not just one thing gets it done.
Yeah.
Because, there just isn't in any project just being able to, just craft with paper or just paint with acrylics. It's like, well, that's fun and all, but if you mix them all together, you get a really cool thing. And especially if you then throw it in and make a book and you put some pages with it and then you do this thing, like that's exciting.
And I think when you're into just one thing, you become less creative because the tenets of whatever it is, like watercolor, if you're a purist watercolor, it's anathema to even think of bringing in white. And I think that it's the same with you just stick yourself into one little thing and you don't do other things, you become stagnant.
Yeah, I mean, really, like with that, it's like really all you're ever doing is changing what it is that you're painting.
Subject matter. And I think that's one of the reasons that Picasso was so prolific. He didn't think there wasn't anything he couldn't do. I mean, he tried it all.
Yeah,
Some
you have to.
total crap.
Yeah, there's an owl painting.
I have. I got a really well-known book publisher did a review for the book that we're assembling right now to put out of a collection of a bunch of my pages from the last year, and he said that I'm a heterodox visual storyteller, which I have to explain all the time, and because we know orthodoxy, we know unorthodox. So orthodox rules, unorthodox against the rules. Heterodox means making new rules, because as a sequential storyteller, writer, and illustrator, I so much mixed media. I switch pen, pencil. There's no such thing as just watercolor. There's no such thing as just pencil grit. Everything's hitting everything else, and the weird surface modulations. And so, I completely agree. To get somebody to say something really nice like that, to make it some kind of validation about it is great, but I completely agree. To stick with one thing, I find to be so limiting, and it just curtails your exploration. And for a person who's I'm writing and illustrating sequential stories, as well as the paintings and all the other stuff. But when I'm doing this writing and illustrating sequential stories, largely there is pencilers, inkers, letterers, colorists. There's seldom nowadays you've got digital artists that are penciling and inking themselves because they just do both the same things at the same time digitally. But to approach it in the way I approach it, I'm looking for other people to do it.
That's great. Marguerite, who said her sister took a battery and hooked it up and sewed in the park.
That is fantastic.
I love it. And that's creative problem solving. And I think that's what mixed media artists really excel at is how do I solve I painted myself into the corner. How do I get out of here?
Yeah, I think it's more about, because actually I was saying this to, I can't remember who I was saying it to, but it was something about, it was in the comments, and it was about being a problem solver. It said, I think that's what we enjoy so much. It's not always even just the art. It's it's problem solving.
And you see, I do it all the time on the fly because I get myself into situations like the netting
because she's damn sure about the thing that she's doing, and then she's got to, let people know that she.
There's a joy in that too, though, Patricia.
There is a joy.
I mean, you got this netting thing, and you're like, I'm just gonna rip these off.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna tear at this and rip the edges off. And Mariah, of course, sitting beside you, says, "Were you gonna use a ruler?" Because apparently you had made some.
Oh no!
Utilizing a ruler the day before.
Well, no.
That's who we are. Sorry.
What I had said was that I had mentioned, if you leave that there, you're going to it's going to become one. I knew that she had thought that she could just, lift it off of there. But
okay.
nay.
Yeah, but that's part of the thing. That's part of the process. Is okay, here I am. They're stuck together now.
She forgot about it.
I forgot about it, and it got underneath piles of stuff, and
how does that happen?
I meant to lift it off to get that impression underneath, but it didn't happen because I forgot. And I just squirreled, went over someplace else, and I don't know what I was doing.
And that's a wonderful place to leave it because we've got to go. The baby is home, and we got a squirrel.
If it helps at all, Patricia, this morning I found a comic page that is 2/3 done, and I forgot I'd done it. So you're not alone. Listen, thank you so much, ladies, for coming and joining. And thank you, everybody that's joined in and taken part in the chat, and those of you that have thrown suggestions my way. I'm going to be doing a page that I'll be posting for tomorrow based on the suggestion from Patricia. And I think everybody's... Yep.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, tomorrow's page will be a conversation between Jesus and Buddha. So... So thank you very much, everybody, for coming out. Thank you so much, Mariah and Patricia. And please, those of you that are becoming introduced to them today, please go and check out what they do and check out and explore so many of the names and creative people that have been taking part in the chat as well, because you're going to find so much interesting work and expression being done by people. Is there anything you ladies would like to say before we sign off?
Bye, y'all. Thumbsy upsies.
Thumbsy upsies.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, I got to hurry and get thumbsy upsies.